Okay, I want to welcome everybody to our 7th annual award ceremony. I really want to thank everybody for coming. This is growing every year. This year we have 8 recipients. It's the most we ever had. We are doing a special awards for our pioneers, and we're talking with our pioneers, we're talking about the people who marched on Manhasset to integrate the elementary schools in 1965. We're going to honor 3 of them tonight. We're also, for our first time, we're going to honor a business in the community for always participating in anything that happens in this community. This one business is always there, and we're going to recognize them tonight. And then we have our youth. We have 2 youth awards that are being given out to 2 of our Manhasset High School students who are also volunteering in the community. So we're going to recognize 2 of those youth tonight also. And then finally, we're going to give a $500 scholarship, and hopefully next year it will be more. But if whoever's aware of our white affair that we give on Saturdays during this weekend, tomorrow is our 19th white affair, okay? And going forward, all proceeds from the white affair will go to the scholarship fund. So that lucky person, that money is going up every year. Okay, while we waiting, I'm gonna bring up the president of our foundation and let him give you a little history on us and what we're about and what we plan to do going forward. I'd like to bring up Mr. Stanley Robinson.
Sir. Appreciate it. Good evening. As you heard, we are the Manhasset Valley Community Foundation Incorporated. Last year, a group of people that included some of the ones who'll be presenting the awards tonight called me up and asked me if I would help them create a nonprofit organization to recognize the history of the Manhasset Valley community. So we chatted, and I told them I would be an advisor to the group and all of that because I just didn't have time to do it. And after several conversations, they convinced me that I needed to come in and help guide this effort. So we have been meeting now for 1.5 years, and since last year's award ceremony, we've now become an official 501c3 organization that's recognized by the Internal Revenue Service. So you can make donations to us, they're tax deductible. We will be raising funds to do that, and we appreciate people's support. Some of the things that we plan to do, you've heard about the scholarship. We were hoping this year we could do 2 scholarships, but we think we'll probably be able to do that next year. So there'll be one young recipient this evening will get a $500 scholarship as they're entering their first year in college to help reduce some of their cost. Secondly, we want to make sure that when we give awards and recognize people, it's for people who really made a difference. Therefore, the inaugural Pioneer Awards this evening. I was going to say a whole lot about it in some introductory remarks later on when I got to it, but think about what I thought about when I'm reflecting. What does pioneer mean? Pioneer means being the first amongst a group of people to do something for the first time. So the award tonight is kind of the first of the first. And as I was researching the integration of Manhasset schools, although I was around and a young child at the time, you find 2 things in history. One is there's an article in the New York Times that talks about that date, this meeting, and the fact that this integration was going to happen. The second thing that you'll find is there's a case summary and the case summary has a student's name that is the leading plaintiff in the case against Manhasset schools. You'll meet that person later on because that person will be receiving that award on behalf of his late mom. The other thing that was really interesting about it was how in-depth this case study was. So at that time, there was no new projects. It was just the old projects. And they did a study and looked at the income of every household in each one of those apartments, those 102 or so apartments. They also did a study on the educational and attainment levels of each one of the children that lived in those apartments, and compared it to the children who went to school on the Hill in Manhasset. And what the lawyers were very smart about was they linked it to the Brown versus Board of Ed, and it was like Manhasset's version of the Brown versus Board of Ed. And the people that are going to be recognized tonight are the folks who won that case. So I'm very proud, and I'll be very proud to announce those. So we're going to be preserving history. We've already there's a documentary that's been done that's gotten very popular on Spinney Hill. If you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube and check it out, and it gives you the history, some of the black history here. I'd like to put a book together, and I want contributions from everyone, like pictures of the old bars that used to be here. If anybody got anything on Hotel James, please send them to me so we can celebrate that institution. So those are the kinds of things that we're going to do. You'll be hearing about fundraising events that we'll be doing. We'll be taking trips and doing some fun things, but it's all designed to preserve the history of the Manhasset Valley community. So without further ado, I guess we can start the awards. Thank you.
All right. We're going to get started here. Like I say, we got a new award that we're going to give out. With this award, it's my pleasure to give it out. It's the first time business award in this community that we've ever given out. This guy is whatever you ask of him. For the last 20 years, he's been involved with This Weekend with us, 25 years. He's been anything we asked of him. He's always there. All the waters, all the beverages is always on him. And I would like to bring up and gladly give this first award to Mr. Jeffrey Wiseman. For all of your dedication that you do, Jeff, we appreciate everything you do in this community, and I want to say thank you.
Thanks, man. I'd like to thank everybody for putting up with me all of these years, and for me putting up with some of the youngins over there, the young ones in the corner over there. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I really appreciate this from the bottom of my heart. So, thank you. I'd like to say one more thing. I'd like to thank my father because he brought me around here into this business. So, this is for Pops. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Like I say, that was the first one. For all who don't know, Jeff has been around here for over 50 years. His father owned the store, and now he owns the store. So he is part of this community. Okay, I'm gonna bring up a member of the board to issue this next award because this guy was very special to him. So I'm gonna bring up my brother Doug Irby to present this next award.
Good evening, everybody. And let me just say welcome and thank you, everybody, for coming out. Let me just say this. My name is Douglas Irby, but everybody around here knows me as Dinky's big brother. So next year I'm gonna wear a tag that says Dinky's big brother. Stanley, when I was a teenager, Stanley was running a program out of this very building called the Youth Justice Program. And that was my first introduction to community service. And we actually had classes. We went away for the week. We attended classes. We learned about community organizing, activism, all of that kind of stuff. They taught us that. And then I went away from it for many years. But somewhere along the way, it reverberated in my spirit, and I found myself back here doing that same community service work. So, I had a vision for this foundation, and I knew Stan, that was his expertise. And I'm so grateful that he volunteered to do it, because if you've ever seen one of his invoices, okay. That's right, I'll be here all week. So, but this gentleman who I knew for a long time, and then he asked me to join his AAU basketball program. And when I did that, the first time I stood on the floor with a whistle, telling them kids what to do. I love telling them, get on the floor, give me some push-ups, run some line. I found a place that I love. I love to be there. And I just want to say thank you to my mentor in the area of athletics and community service. He means a lot to me. I wish he was here today to accept this himself. But I'd like to ask his family to come up and accept this Community Service Award, this Ruth PATILLO Award, in the name of Mr. Sylester Johnson.
Well, I really don't know what to say, but no, seriously, we thank you, the Johnson family, thank you. Sly has been involved with community service since like the late 1970s. He established the Silver Star, what they call them, the Silver Star Pittsburgh, the Silver Star Steelers. He established the EOC softball team, the women's Wildcat softball team. He just went on and did a lot of things in the community, bringing people together, bridging gaps between communities. You can go to Glen Cove and just run into people that you just know because you played softball against them. You know what I mean? So he really did a lot, and this is very appropriate. I called him the other night. I told him, yo, Sly, you're getting ready to be honored with the Ruth PATILLO Award. And he said, with great appreciation. So I think you all should know that. And we, again, the Johnson family, we thank you.
All right, we're gonna move right along now. This next recipient moved away a long time, but he left his stamp on this town. He was a mentor and a leader to a lot of guys my age or a few years older. I'd like to bring up his son to accept this award, Mr. John Stover. Say a couple things about the
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? We coming all the way from Orlando, Florida. I'm sorry, Mr. Stover couldn't make it. He wanted to be here. We had a family emergency where he couldn't, so I'm stepping in to fill his shoes. I guess that's a good thing. But just a few things that he wanted me to mention about some of the things that he helped start here in this community, and I won't be long. The creation of, this is some of the activities he participated in, the creation of the Black Student Council in 1968 at Manhasset High School. I'm pretty sure some of y'all remember that. I wasn't born, I'm just. Demands made by the Black Student Council, approved by Manhasset High School Board, and the implications, the additional black faculties and staff, selected a community representative to the travel and assist of Manhasset High School's teachers. Also, the recruitment to ensure black teachers are included. Dr. King's birthday declared a school holiday. Y'all remember that. Also, the history in Manhasset from K through 12. Ensure the black students are given opportunity to participate in student activities that has been traditionally all whites. School-wide activity that celebrates the observation of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday here. And also the advisor to the school board of black related issues. And basically, Mr. Stover just wanted to let everybody know that, you know, his love will always be here in this community. It's hard work. That traveled down to Orlando, Florida, where he attended a college. He worked at a college down there, Valencia, for 38 years. He created another program for ethnic diverse students that gave scholarship free money to them for the next like 20, 25 years. Actually, he got a letter. Thank you. Thank you. The program that he created is called the Bridges Program. You can look it up online. President Obama sent him a letter. It was a program that helped diverse students create opportunity to go through school and wouldn't have to pay money out of their pocket. He didn't patent the program because he was never about money for the people that know him. It's a program that's still being held today down in Orlando, Florida, that's making millions and millions of dollars. So, you know, like I say, he didn't patent it, so he's not getting any money off of that. But it's a few names that he wanted me to mention, and I'm saying this in closing, that help him pave the way here in Manhasset. Tyrone Boyd was one, if y'all remember him. Chappelle Cisco, LaRue Coltrane, Brenda Donner, Craig Gilmore. I hear that was my godfather. I heard he was a great man. Yeah. Shirley Herring. And I think I know this next name, Beverly Johnson. That's my mother. I love you. She back there. Sandra Oliphant. Okay. And Cornell Oliphant. Yeah. And Lewis Washington. He said there was definitely many more that helped him on his path throughout this way. It was just some of the ones that he wanted to mention. And I just want to thank y'all for this opportunity. He told me to send his love to you guys, and we appreciate this award, and we accept this in his behalf. And his family, stand up, please. They came all the way from Orlando to help support him. Yeah. Thank you very much. We feel at home.
we're gonna move along. I'm gonna bring up a board member to introduce the youth, the Angel Branch Youth Award. If you're wondering why our youth award is called Angel Branch, it's because Angel Branch worked with our kids in this building for 18 years, and unfortunately, she left us last year. So we was calling the award just a youth award, so as of last year, we started calling it the Angel Branch Youth Award. So that's how that became about. I'm gonna bring up Andre Vanterpoole. to give out the youth awards.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, the volume is nice. This is my voice at all times. I can't help it. It's always midnight for me. This award is very special to me because I'm someone who was fortunate enough to follow the footsteps of many of my mentors and having the opportunity to work here and give back to the community for many years, and just the guidance that I received throughout that time. So it started with Doug Irby, who was very vital in my upbringing, and I was fortunate enough to be the program director here at the EOC, and I followed Angel Branch. So I was, working in her office literally when she transitioned to working with the Ventures and Learning program. But I grew up eating dinner at her house with her kids, and seeing how she gave back to the community. She gave, her doors were always open, without a doubt. And in my time here, I was fortunate enough to talk to her and learn the things that she did, and giving back to the community and how she did it and how passionate she was. So I'm very thankful and fortunate to be able to present this award because it means a lot to me. I'm just gonna bring our two recipients up here, and I'll have them, tell you a little bit about themselves and what some of them knew Angel, so they can tell you what they meant to her, because she meant a lot to me. So first I'll bring up Cristopher. Is he here? Is Cristopher here? No, he's not. And Kenelia Phillips, if you could come. So quickly, Kenelia, I know if some of you are looking at me feeling old, I feel old now too, because I watched Kenelia grow up now. She's heading to high school next year. She's actually volunteering for the first time at the summer program, but she's been a camper in my summer program for years now. So, I got a little gray in my beard now, so I'm feeling a little older. But I'm gonna have her tell you a little bit about herself and the Angel Branch.
Hi, my name is Kenelia. I'm 14. I am a student at Great Neck South High School. Well, now I'm a student at Great Neck South High School. I love serving Jesus, which is my #1 priority. This all started because of Ms. Holden. She used to be good friends with my mom and my family, and Ms. Holden also, who is also one of the leaders of this program. So I thank all of them. May Miss Angel rest in peace with her. Thank you.
No, just stay. I want to bring up Angel's beloved children up here to talk a little bit about the award and their mother, introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Tori. I'm one of the three. I just want to congratulate you and just say that it's amazing that you're making a difference in the community, because that's what the award is for, and following my mom's footsteps. That's pretty much it.
Hi, I'm Kevin Harrison, Angel's only son. I would like to say congratulations, and this is the door to future and bigger, brighter things to your future, and I'm glad that we could be a part of this award being given to you tonight. Thank you.
All right, we got one more award left before we get to the pioneers. This is our special award. This our scholarship fund, what we're all about, and I'm going to bring up our treasurer, Lamonte Eddins, to give out the scholarship award.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Everybody got a round of applause but myself, but that's okay. The voice. Oh, okay. Well, on a serious note, it's an honor to be up here to present this award. I come from this community. I'm from the Valley. I lived in the old projects growing up. So I know what this building represents. I know what it's like to grow up here. I know what it's like to be a kid here. I know what it's like to go to school in this particular town and some of the challenges that you may have or presents when you go to school here. So this award means a lot because this person is persevering in life. This person is doing well in school. This person has goals and aspirations in school as well and wants to do better in their life. So this award means a lot to us as a organization because we're trying to do our part to get back to the community and hopefully have this particular person excel in life to come back and do some of the things that we're doing now and to continue to keep the Valley within Manhasset on the map and continue to do great things. So this young lady has excelled in the classroom. She has excelled in community service, and she's also excelled from a fitness standpoint. That's very important as well, too, because we understand the importance of health. We also understand the cost of healthcare. So taking care of yourself mentally, physically is just as important as doing well in other areas in life. So what I would like to do is bring up Miss Jasmine Willis. You deserve it. You deserve it. So your aspirations has brought you up here. We wish you nothing but success. We know that you're going to do well in life. So this appreciation for us towards you is to help you on your journey, whatever it is that you choose to do in life. So just excel and be proud of yourself and don't settle for anything in life. So would you like to say a few words to the audience? Please do. Please do.
I just want to say thank you to everyone, my mom for supporting me here today. And I didn't really expect all of this actually. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for supporting me in the neighborhood. I've been here since I was born, 18 years. Gonna continue to be here, give back to my community. This is the one place I know. Thank you.
Once again, Jasmine, congratulations. What I'd like to do now is to pass this over to Stanley. He's going to continue with the ceremony.
As I was reflecting on these awards, as I said a little bit earlier, I thought about history. And I thought about the fact that we're celebrating, I don't know what number it is, but the anniversary of the independence of this country. And while we got a really strange person in the White House right now, I wasn't thinking about him. I was thinking about Frederick Douglass in 1852 when he wrote, "What does the 4th of July mean to a Negro?" And I also thought about what's currently going on the southern borders. And while young people may think it's the first time, there was a time when people who look like us experienced the exact same thing. But no matter what, time passes on, and new history is always being made. So we've seen since then the first black president. Thank you, thank you. And I don't know if you know, but when I was in the hotel room this afternoon, about 3 hours ago, there's a 15-year-old black girl from Atlanta that just made it to the 4th round of the Wimbledon tennis tournament. So there's always new history being made. So we can't forget that there was a time when it was illegal to teach people who look like us anything, history or anything else. But the next 3 recipients are people who changed that for us in this community and allowed us to get a level of education that has set generations forth. So without further ado, I want the following people to come up, and I want you all to come up at the same time because they worked as a team to integrate the school. So first, I want to have Dr. Lisa Whitten, who's here on behalf of her aunt, Dr. Olga Jenkins. Dr. Jenkins' son, Alan, wanted to be here, but he's out of the country. So I kept chasing him and said, we got to get somebody from the family. So he says, well, I'm going to call my cousin. She lives in Harlem, and let's see if we can get her here. So she came in from Harlem tonight. The other person is kind of this lady that I've known my whole life. Her name is Ruth Robinson, and she's my mother. And she had us do all kind of stuff in this integration thing. I remember sitting, my brother and I, in a gray and red sweater on the sofa, and these people from outside of our community were taking pictures, and these are some of the students who are going to benefit from this integration. Ruth Robinson. And last, but by no means least, I mentioned earlier that there was a student who was the leading plaintiff in the suit against Manhasset schools. So on behalf of his late mom, Lillian Knox, Ralph Blocker, please come forward. Okay. So Ralph's name, as I said, was the student's plaintiff's name, the lead plaintiff on the suit against Manhasset schools. And each one of them has a plaque that reads, the Pioneer Award in appreciation to each one of them for your contributions that led to the integration of the Manhasset school systems in 1965. Presented July 5th, 2019, by the Manhasset Valley Community Foundation, Incorporated. Congratulations. Now, we can take this photo. We'll take this photo. Now, I'm taking a risk here because I'm going to pass the mic, and I hope it's not going to take as long as it did to integrate the schools back in 1965, but I want each of them to have a word.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here to represent my aunt, Olga Jenkins. She sends her best regards and apologizes for not being able to be here. But she has many, many happy memories of working with people here in the Valley. I grew up in Detroit, but nevertheless, I had constantly heard about her work in the Valley and her activism and her determination to give the kids at Manhasset Junior High a voice, and to make sure that they knew that they had someone who had their back at all times. My aunt was involved in so many different kinds of activism partly because my grandparents, my grandmother's side of the family, came here from the Bahamas and worked as domestics. She worked on organizing domestic workers here. And she and my mother, did many things together, but at Temple University, way back in, must have been the 40s, worked to end the policy that made the Red Cross separate blood by race. I wanted to mention that we have other roots here because my grandmother lived in the senior citizen building for many years, and I'm convinced it added years to her life. And we're still in touch with Janice Means. She's been a really important part of my aunt's life for all these years, and I just appreciate, on her behalf, this recognition, and that she taught me and so many people that if you want change, you really have to fight and be fearless.
Good evening, everyone. And I would just like to say, you see me wiping my eyes. It's for happiness, but it's a glaucoma thing also. So I'm not really crying over Stanley and the other ones.
Me neither.
I'm happy to be here tonight to just give you a couple high points on what made it so that the many of you young students and people are not still here in this building. It was not easy. It was a long journey, but we did what had to be done. I came to Manhasset and Great Neck, and the shock to me was that I found that coming from the South, that Manhasset, of all places, had what you call 2 separate schools, but yet ran under the same school district with the same school board, which was composed of mostly white people. I would like to just give you a few highlights of what we went through to get to this point. And I would also like to just say good evening and welcome to the Manhasset Valley Community Foundation Incorporation. I never thought that I would hear that name, a foundation. I would like to congratulate these young men, women, families, and all, my sons, and how you all have gotten together and carried this work on and continue to do so. I moved out of the community, and I wanted to continue to work in the community, but I was informed at that time I was no longer a parent in the school, so I could not do the work that I had helped do, but I do feel I had helped lay a foundation for many. I'm very proud and happy to stand here before you after many years to say thank you. I must just tell you a little about your journey here. It was not as easy as you who are younger knows. I'd like to really thank Lil Knox and Mr. Cox of the NAACP of Great Neck at that time, who encouraged us as a group to do something about the school district. There was 5 of us as parents at that time, and we took the step. We went into Brooklyn every morning, took care of our children. The NAACP drove us into Brooklyn to the courthouse every morning. And there we went through, I'd not like to use the word, but I am going to use it. We went through torture from the leaders and from the judges and also from the lawyers. but our lawyers from the NAACP and we as parents, we stood strong. And with the community backing us and the ministers of the community backing us also, we were able to fight this battle. And I would also like to say that, and congratulations to the community, to the young people of the Manhasset School, Great Neck School. It was not easy for you to get there. The day we won the court case, I'll never forget. We had been there for a few weeks, months, and we walked in on a Monday morning, and the moment we walked into the courtroom, our lawyers didn't have time to brief us like normally they would do. We walked into the courtroom. I was wearing a red dress. And the lawyer stepped out to us and he said, "Miss Robinson, they want you on the stand this morning." On the stand, and don't forget, we were all young because our kids were very young, and I just moved to the community. And I said, "On the stand," he said, "Yes, and we don't have time for a briefing. But all you have to do when they ask you the questions, you just answer the questions and tell them how you feel and what you feel about it." I never forget that that morning, the lawyer for the Manhasset School asked the question, and he questioned me down, and he wanted to know why did I want my children who had nothing to do but jump across a fence to get to school and instead to come up the hill to the school in Manhasset. And I said to him, "We have found out, and many of you know this is true, and especially the PATILLO and Keys family, we had found out that the children here in this building, where this was the school for the black kids. I remember one white kid that was there, and it was a friend of my son. And I said to him, and we had found out that the books that they were using there were not the books that they were ordering for us to have here for our kids. So by the time that the kids were getting to the high school, they could not function because they were so far behind. And the lawyer said to me, "What is your reason?" And I told him, it doesn't matter the jumping, if it's only jumping the fence to get to school. It was their education, and not just for my children, but for the whole community. And before going further, I would just like to say the judge said to me, "Ms. Robinson, I wish all had answered their questions the way that you answered your question." And we had went through a whole lot, and especially this young man's mother. And we weren't expected. People didn't expect us to win this case, and there were many white people who didn't expect us to win the case, out of Great Neck and from the Hill in Manhasset. On a Saturday morning, I received a call from Newsday saying, "Ms. Robinson, are you aware that you all have won the Manhasset School case?" And that was the beginning of the changes in Manhasset. And I want you to know, Newsday was there that Saturday afternoon with Stevie, Stanley, and Sharon. sitting there in whatever sweaters Stanley said it was sitting in, to take pictures. And to finalize it, I want you all to know also, we had to march even after winning the case. And many of you know that we marched from here with the ministers supporting us and the community. And we marched to Plandome Road and up and down. And I would let you know that we were called names, the ministers were called names, but we never gave up. We gave it in prayer. And I had 5 little boys that was in my charge. And I never forget one of them said to me, Miss Robinson, if they spit on me, what do I do? I said, you just turn your back. My mother told us, just turn your head. You can bet there is somebody want to be a friend to you. And we kept, and that is the beginning of the integration of the Manhasset Valley School. Thank you very much.
Like she said. What do I say? How much time do I have after that, Stanley? Let me do this. For those that don't know, like Stanley said, I'm the son of Lily Knox. I was born and raised here in Manhasset. The beauty of me being able to be a recipient is I am one of the students of that era that our parents were going through. And if you could just see or imagine my mother, she's in heaven now. Hey, Mom, God bless you. Olga, Dottie, they were like the 3 musketeers. I don't know how they did it back in the day, because you have to understand we had no resources, no internet, no opportunity, but they got together at night in the apartments, the old projects, before the new projects and everything. But I don't want to get into the whole thing, but like Dottie said, it was very, very ugly. And I wasn't old enough to attend the court cases, but it was like a circus. A lot of the kids, older kids, were going to attend the trial and everything. I wanted to go because everybody would come home and talk about it. But my mom said, I think I was 12, 13 years old. Mom said, Ralph, no. You got more important things to do. You go to school. We'll handle this. We'll handle this. And the hard part about that for me personally, like Dottie said, now you guys that are familiar with court and how it functions, you'll sit on the stand to testify. Now my mom, black lady, just imagine a whole courthouse, white, you know, and they weren't what you call fair. So they put Mom on the stand, and the kids used to come home and say, Ralph, they tried to make your mother look like a fool. Tried to break her, tried to make her quit. But if they knew my mom like I knew, they was just giving her fuel for the fire, you know. But these sisters, without going on, they just can't be commended enough. And like Stanley said, those of you that are not familiar with it, just pull it up on YouTube. Now, how would you have to look it up? What would you put on the YouTube that you had made? Spinney Hill, right. Yeah. And before I forget, I'd like to welcome all of you that are not from Manhasset anymore. I see we got Florida in the house over there. I came up from Atlanta myself, and you know. But I don't want to run on, but I just want to, on behalf of my mom, thank you all. And we would have had more people here, but I didn't get my letter, you know, until the last minute because the mail didn't forward it to me, Stanley. And the PO, they messed it up. But anyway, after I came up and I realized it was going to be real, I told my sister and my niece, who are here today, and they know Mom would be very proud if she was here today. And in closing, I just want to say, Miriam and Caleb, could you stand up, please? This is my mom's girls. This is my sister and my mom's granddaughter, Kayla. And the one good thing that I feel, well, not the one good thing that came from this, Dottie, Olga, and my mother, okay, the demographics that Stanley had read way back in the day, on the Hill, they were professional, mainly professional family, and you go down to what we call the Valley. I don't know why they call it the Valley. You know, this is a hill here. We live on the other side of the hill. But anyway, fast forward, and all of their kids not only did good in school, they went on to attend college and do quite well. God bless.
I just wanted to say very quickly that, like my aunt, I'm an educator. I'm on faculty at SUNY Old Westbury, and I just wanted all of you to know, because some of you will have young folks coming along and they can use me as a resource. Lisa Witten, W-H-I-T-T-E-N.
All right, before you leave, we're going to take a picture. I want to have the entire board, Vice President Doug, Secretary Brenda Eddins-Bey, our treasurer Lamonte, Dennis and Annette, members of the board, to take this photo. And I just want to tell you how interesting that, you know, like I told you, it may take a minute for my mom's as long as it did with integration, but she always pays it forward. She just made a donation to the foundation also, so paying it forward. Always being an example.
I'm gonna bring up the secretary of our group. She has a few things to say, and she has a surprise for you.
Good evening, everyone. And I'm quite sure you were already welcome, but I'm going to welcome you again. And this is an honor to be, it is an honor to be part of the board. And before I say what I need to say, I just want to thank the board for their patience and tolerance with me, because I'm stretched 101 places. And Mr. Robinson, could you pay attention? And I also want to thank Stan for spearheading our board to a successful ending, and as they have already stated, that we are now a 501c3 organization. So we're looking to take it to a whole nother level. We do have donation envelopes, and I know you gave us a contribution when you walked through the door, but we have envelopes that we will be giving out. All our proceeds and revenue will be going towards helping Old Timers Weekend. It is, you can claim it on your taxes. Lamont will give you a receipt. Without further taking up any more time, I just want to say thank you to our already received recipients, to Ms. Robinson, representative for Ms. Knox, and the other young lady, for certainly being waymakers and community shakers, because we would not be here without them. So I want to thank them for that. I want to say to the young people, because it's a lot of young people here, and I have a young person living in my house, and I had a young person, now I have a very successful young man. But one of the things that I always tell them is that dreams lie dormant. They never die. And each day that you awaken, so does that dream. So go for it. Whatever obstacles and challenges coming your way, they're just there. You can go around them, you can go over them, and you can go through them. They're not there to prevent you from doing what you have to do. And with that being said, my daughter who has been doing community service since the age of 2. I drag her everywhere I go. My husband and I are on many, many boards. We started our own nonprofit organization. I have my own nonprofit organization called Wise Women Empowerment, Inc. Yours truly, Mr. Robinson, helped me set up my nonprofit status. My husband wears many hats, so we drag my daughter. So this year, in the month of June, my daughter entered into a beauty pageant. And it was something that we really wasn't pushing her to do it for beauty. We pushed her to do it for all other reasons. And as a result, she's been on many, many platforms because we have to pave that way for her to get to higher heights. And by any means necessary, as long as it is ethical and morally right, then she will be involved. So one of the winnings was a Roku TV. And you know, there were some challenges with getting our donations, and I said to my daughter, the Manhasset Valley Community Foundation kind of, you know, we ran into some challenges with our door prizes and stuff like that, and would you mind if you donate the TV? She said, well, Mom, I always want to give back. And I said, great, I'll call Mr. Dennis Irby. And she said, no, I'll call him myself. And without further ado, I'll let the 2019 Miss Rochdale pageant winner come and tell her story.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eddins-Bey, Brenda Bey's daughter, Lamonte Eddins' sister. And I felt it was necessary to give back, and I didn't need the TV at all. So I felt it would be a great idea to give the TV to the Manhasset Valley Community Foundation. So I hope you guys have a really great night and enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honey. How about that for a little young people motivation? Okay, I'm gonna shout out some people. I'm gonna shout out one person who loves to be in the background. But for the last 20 years, he's here every weekend, every time we have something. All the pictures, all the documentation, all of those documentaries of this community, all the money comes from our cameraman, Mr. Lloyd Means. There he is, y'all. Let's give him a hand. Every year for the last 20 years, he's been donating this service and never wants to be recognized. So this year I decided I'm gonna recognize him anyway and let people know what he's doing in this community. The next person I'm gonna recognize saved the day this year for Old Timers Day. There was a money problem. The park on Sunday costs money. Insurance, hundreds of dollars, like $6, to get insurance for the park for us to have our cookout on Sunday. This year, one person stepped up and said, I'm gonna put up the money. She needs it back. She put up money she didn't have. Let's give Miss Ruth Freeman a hand. Ruth put up all the money for the park this year. All right, so I want to make sure that we recognize those people. Can those people who volunteered to Evelyn, you're late, but you're here. Nice to see you.